Let's do a burnout.
Yeah! What's going on, guys? Welcome back for another episode of Too Many Toys Jake. Today it is a beautiful day out. The sun is shining. The weather is nice. There's no wind. We're going to be doing a bunch of little things. It is beautiful out. I'm going to try and get as much done as I can. We're going to be trying to do, well, we are going to do an oil change. While we're doing that, we're going to put the electric fan on. We're also going to be doing the wiring for the fuel pump and the electric fan. We're also going to be taking out a bunch of wiring and a bunch of other crud from underneath the engine, or the engine bay. And also we got to cut apart the hood so that the actual carburetor will fit underneath of it properly, because right now we're having the problem that the filter is actually too large and the motor is brought up on this truck so the truck can sit nice and low. So the actual carburetor filter is touching the hood, and it's causing it not to close properly. So that's one thing we're gonna have to take care of as well. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna lift the truck up, get some air in the bags, get the front end off the ground so I can do an oil change to it. And I'm kind of excited to do this because it's been the first oil change in 20 years. So apart from all the other stuff, that's the first thing we're gonna do, and then we're gonna go from there. While the truck's up in the air, I'm doing the oil change, I'm gonna be able to do the fan. So we'll do that while the oil is draining. So let's jump right into it, guys. Alrighty, guys, there you have it. Front end's up off the ground. Now we can get underneath of it, jack it up, get the oil change done. So we got the truck up in the air. Remember, when you're jacking the truck up, a car or anything like that, remember to always use jack stands. And then after you do put it on jack stands, make sure to give it a little shake, just so she doesn't go anywhere. All right, now let's crawl underneath it, take a look at what we got. Everything's actually not too bad. So, perfect. Our plug is gonna be right there. Our oil filter is gonna be up there. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna try and get this plug out of here, because it's been in there for 20 years. And then while we're doing that and letting the oil drain, since we're underneath here, I'm gonna put the fan in. The fan in, the hardware and everything for it. Just so we're in here, might as well get it done. And then after that, we'll rip that oil filter off. We can get that from the top though. So you want to see something? Look at these bushings too. Whew. Talk about sitting for 20 years. Ain't no rubber left on this damn thing. Holy moly. But I mean, the floors and everything else are actually pretty solid, except for, you know, that spot over there, but just don't look at that spot. All right, guys, so here we go. We're gonna try and loosen. We're gonna try and loosen. 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 Okay, we'll be right back. All right, so a little bit of PB blast or whatever that's fucking doing, and we'll try a bigger guy. Holy crap. Oh, we got it, guys. busted my hand up, but we got her. Interesting. You guys ready to see what's coming out of here? Hope it doesn't spill all over the place. Ready? Here we go. Ooh. It's actually a lot better than I expected. Normally when you do this, guys, first thing you don't want to do is you don't want to drop the frickin' in there. And then the second thing is normally you want to let it run for a couple minutes just to get it warm, but I was lazy, so I didn't do that. Remember, do as I say, not as I do. So we're gonna let this drain out. I'm gonna try and fish out that drain plug. We got most of the oil drained out. We're gonna put the drain plug back in. Remember when you're putting these back, hold on. Remember when you're putting these back on that you don't have to over tighten them. Like this one was on there way too tight. So basically just finger tight it and give her a couple. 1, 2, hug it, hug it, hug it, hug it. 1, 2, hug it, hug it, hug it, hug it. Now that should be good. Just give her a wipe down and then we can move on to the filter. So we got the oil all drained out. The next thing we're gonna have to do is the oil filter. But while it's up in the air, I figured I'd get underneath of it and put the new electric fan on. I could take the grill off and put it on that way, but it's a lot easier just while it's up, so I don't have to do that, to reach up underneath of it and put the pins on. So I'll show you what I got. I picked up this cheap fan from Amazon. I think it was like 30 bucks, something like that. It's just a 12-inch round fan, and then it comes with all the attachments and everything. Put it on. It's actually pretty simple. It's just 4 push plugs. It's actually pretty simple. You put these little plastic tabs wherever you want on your fan, and then it comes with a couple zip tie like hold downs. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put the fan on, and then we're going to push these through onto here and stick this on. So I'll show you guys right now what I'm going to do. Well, first thing you want to do when you're doing this is you want to measure out your rad and see how big you have and how much room you have to play with. And then you can go and order what size you want. There's 8-inch, 12-inch, 10-inch, 16, 14, whatever. So I went with a smaller 12-inch. I could have went a little bit bigger, a couple 10 inches, but honestly for this little motor, you don't really need much. So this fan should do well. So we're just gonna put it up like this. We're gonna put the clips in there, and then we're just gonna wire it. Nice and simple. These little tabs here, all they're gonna do is slide in on here. Like that, and we're gonna put around all. We're gonna put them on all 4 corners, so that the fan actually has something that the zip ties or the holders can actually hold on to. And then you guys can place your wiring wherever you want. You can place it up, you can place it down. It all depends on how you want to run it. I'm gonna run mine over to the side so that I can run it along. You guys can't see it, but then I can run it on the side, so then I can run the wiring along with everything else along the frame rail and then up into the cab, because I have a nice wiring kit for it that we're going to put on. Hey guys, what to do after you get those clips on. 1, 2, and then there's 2 more at the bottom. I got most of the clips in now, so the last one I'm going to do here, I'll show you what I'm going to do. So we're going to take our big zip tie like push on clip. We are going to take a square of rubber. We're going to put it on so that it doesn't vibrate and wreck the rad. What we're going to do is we're going to take our spring our little spring, and we're gonna put it behind. We're gonna put it behind the fan, like that. And then all we're gonna do is we're gonna take this. We're gonna take this, and we're just gonna push it through, nice and gentle, just like that. So now that we have this on, we can go underneath of it, and then we can put on the retaining clips that holds it on, and then this should be nice and tight. It looks like that I'm gonna have to take the grill off anyways. I'm not gonna be able to reach my arm up in between the frame and the rod there to get up in there. I thought I was going to, but apparently I can't. So give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna take this grill off, and we'll be right back. And don't forget, we still have to change the oil filter and put the oil in. So we got all the screws out for the grill. Now we just gotta pull it back and out. We're not gonna take it all the way out because then I gotta take the corners off. This is enough. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna find where our zip ties came through, and then we are gonna take a piece of foam, one of these clips. We're gonna stick the foam through there first. We're gonna put the clips on, and then we're gonna push the back and these two together like you would a zip tie, and that'll get it on there nice and tight. All we're gonna do is we're gonna simply take the plastic piece of the foam on there. We're gonna take this, we're just gonna push it in until it gets to here, and then we're gonna push that back piece and pull at the same time, and it's gonna push that spring down, and then in return it's gonna tighten up the fan. We have it all in, push together. As you can see, the springs have actually collapsed, which is good. So that means that this thing has very little play. So that's nice and tight and done. Now we're just gonna cut the ends off of these. Make sure to give them a little bit, don't cut them right flush, just so if they do move, they're not gonna come apart. And then after we're done that, the fan is done, so we can put the truck back down on the ground. We can change the oil filter, and then we can put the oil back in, and then get the fan wired up. So that's next on the list. We're gonna do that now. All right, so we got the grill in. That's all done. The fan's on there. Now all we have to do is wire it. So that's all done. So basically, the next thing we're gonna do is try and get that oil filter off. That's gonna be a pain in the ass. It's been on there a long time, and oh, who knows. So let's just jump right into it and see. First, I'm gonna try by hand, I guess, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna try and throw these in there. So let's see. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Not with the on by hand, anyways. So let's see. Let's see. There we go. I tell you what, guys, these things are a freaking lifesaver. If you guys are doing lots of oil changes, get yourself a set of oil filter wrench. These things are definitely lifesavers. Save you from having to stick the old screwdriver in there and try and give her a pry. Oh no! Oh, we got a spillage. We got spillage. I guess it'd be smart to put your jack stands in a place where you can put the oil catcher underneath. But you know, this guy's not that smart. So we took off a Mazda filter. So that means somebody was taking care of it. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna throw a new filter on there, some cheap oil. Since it's been sitting for so long, I'm just gonna let that oil run through it, change it out in a couple kilometers, and then put some good oil and good filter in it. So I'll show you guys what I got. Just 5 quarts of total 10W30. Just a little AC Delco filter. So we're gonna throw those on, put some oil in the old girl, and then start her up, see how she runs. Probably sound a little bit better too with the new oil filter, new oil in it. So let's get to it. When you're putting these oil filters back on, make sure that you put a little bit of oil around the seal here. If not, it can seize up, so it's always good to do. And then I just like to put a little bit of oil in it just so when it starts up, it's not starting up dry. Make sure you give her a nice fingering. Get all that lube in there. And then we are just gonna slide around like that. Now remember, these don't have to be super tight. Remember, they don't have to be super tight. Just hand tight on, they're good enough. You don't have to use the wrench tool to get them on or put them on, just to take them off. All right, so that's on there. Now the last thing to do is pour about 4.5 quarts of oil in the motor. Put her down and then start her up, see how she sounds. I'll show you guys the high pour, but as you can't see it, I can go as high as I want. You guys won't even know. So like I said, we'll get this in here for a couple kilometers, let it all flush itself out, and then we'll do another oil change. Let's see what we got there. I'll put a little more in. So that should be enough. The last thing we got to do is I'm going to put it on the ground because I'm done underneath of it for today. And then we're going to start it up. All right guys, so we got the Mazda running. I think she's running out of fuel though. I only put maybe a couple liters in it. Yeah, I only put a couple liters in it, so it might be running out of fuel. But oil change is done. She's smoking good. So I'm gonna let it run for a minute, get all the oil through it. I'm gonna try and move it forwards and backwards and see what happens. See if the clutch still works or not after we fix it. Have it, guys. Runs like a champ. Now all I gotta do is check the oil, make sure everything is okay, and then we can start moving on to other stuff. Put some fuel in it too. Cool. There she is. Boom. Right on the money. That's the oil change done. So now I don't have anything to worry about when I'm running the truck or sitting here idling. I can do some other stuff to it and not worry about that shitty oil that's been in there for 20 years causing any harm or doing anything bad like that. So that's all done. Now the next thing is to wire up that new fan I put in and to get the fuel pump all wired up. Cut this hood all apart. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take down the cover here. We're going to pull that off, and then we're going to get the grinder out Then we're going to cut a section of the hood out so that when I put the hood down, the air cleaner clears it. It's a lot cheaper than actually going and getting an air cleaner. Another one anyways, they're like 40-50 bucks, so this will be free. So here we go. Alright guys, we're not going to be reusing this thing anyways, so we're just going to rip it off instead of doing it the proper way, which is actually taking all the clips out. And I'd like to do that, but unfortunately it seems like I lost my clip puller. So this is the next reasonable way to do it. Oh boy. Okay, so now that's all done, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the grinder, the cutoff wheel, and we're just gonna cut this, we're gonna cut this, and that should be enough to give us the clearance we need for our air cleaner. Here we go, we're gonna cut this shit apart. So now when I close the hood, we shouldn't have any problems. Shouldn't have any problems now with the actual hood touching the air filter. So let's take a look. Much better, there we go. Alrighty guys, so we got that piece all cut out. Now the hood closes properly. Before it was resting on the air filter and it was sitting up, so it wasn't closing properly. So we got that all done. We got the hood cut, and we got the heat carpet thingy, bobber, whatever you want to call it, off. We got all this stuff to clean, so before I get in here, and start wiring, I figured I'd give it a good little vacuum. So that's what I'm going to do now, so that when I go in there it's all nice and clean. After I give it a vacuum, then we're going to do the wiring finally. So let's get to it. By the way, I hate wiring if you haven't noticed. So now here I'll show you quickly that we got all underneath the engine bay vacuumed up. Actually looks much better. Not so dirty under here now. When it gets a little bit warmer, I'll get the hose out and give her a nice clean. But for now we're gonna move on to the wiring. So this is what I got. Now I picked up this universal LED light bar kit. So basically it comes with a switch, it comes with a relay, a fusible link, and everything already done. All you got to do is pretty well plug and play. You just got to wire up power and ground, and then this actually comes with 2 leads. So one here, and then another one here. There it is. So basically it's good for around 240 watts, so that's plenty enough to be able to run the fuel pump and the fan. Fan's about 80 watts, fuel pump I couldn't imagine is any more. So this will be perfect. It's only about 30 bucks on Amazon. It's a little bit easier than just making your own. It comes with everything. All you got to do is just plug it in, play it up. So we're going to get to it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the switch where we want to, and then we're going to run the wiring for everything else. So let's do that now. Good thing about older trucks is some of the power ones or the higher up trim levels come with more options, obviously, and they come with more buttons and more switches on the dash. Now, since this is a lower trim level truck, it does not have those buttons or switches, but they still cut them out in the dash, and they leave plastic pieces in here so you can actually take them out and then put a switch in if you need to. So luckily for me, all I got to do is just figure out which one I want to use, pop the switch out, or pop the plastic piece out, and then we should be able to slide this guy, Sasquatch, right in there. We might have to do a couple modifications. Just might have to use a Dremel and drill some plastic out, but we'll see. Well, first thing we're gonna do is just try and put it in, and then we'll see if it fits. So I'm gonna start taking out that plastic piece. Let's get a flathead screwdriver, stick it in the top or the bottom, and just pry it out. Boom, just like that. So now we can see, I think this is going to be a little bit too small, but let's see if this goes through. So basically it doesn't come with the connectors already on it. I put them on just so I test it in the house, make sure everything works. Everything works good. So unfortunately the connectors are actually pretty tight on here. So when you do go to try and take them off, they're actually really tight and it can actually break it. So you want to try and avoid that. So we'll just try and slip this through here. Let's see what we can get it to come out. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so I had it actually super easy. I didn't even have to cut anything out. It just slid right in. So now we got to do is run this connector along the bottom of the dash to the other side of the truck, where I'm going to run the wiring through right there. And then I can just connect that piece to the other wiring, and then I got to wire the other stuff up and figure out where I'm going to put it. So we have everything set in place where I want to put it. The only thing I got to do is actually clean up the wiring and then run new connectors for the electric fan and the fuel pump. So I'll show you quickly. I just got everything kind of loosely wired up so I can give you an idea of what I've done. So you can see Sasquatch is in there. He's got a pretty blue LED light behind him. I mean, you can leave these things on for weeks and weeks and this is not going to drain your battery. So all you got to do, press it, and we got fanage. So basically there's two leads on this wiring kit. Why I got it. So I'm going to put the long lead to the fan. The short leads are going to go to the fuel pump, because the fuel pump just runs, the wiring just runs right up underneath the cab there. So basically all I did was, there's two power wires, one for the direct power and then second for the switch. So all I did was I ran them to all I did was run into the starter there, the two powers, and then I ran my ground just up there to the engine, because I know the engine's ground. Now I still, like I said, I still have to clean everything up, but I just wanted to test it, make sure it works, and so far it works good. None of the wires are getting warm. If you do this yourself, guys, make sure after you have the fan or whatever using it on for a little while, just check the wires, make sure they're not hot, make sure there's no resistance going through them, and if there isn't, you're good to go. So now it's time to clean up all of this mess of wiring, and when I'm done, we'll be back and we should be able to turn the key on. Fuel pump and the electric fan should come on by themselves, and then I should be able to start it right up, and that gets me closer to my goal of a turnkey truck. Guys, so we got everything all wired up. So now all we got to do is we got to turn the key, press Sasquatch on, and that's it. So basically, I got everything all wired up, everything's all finalized. It's kind of running like shit, like I said, because it's out of fuel, but clean up the wiring a little bit, still needs a little bit more. As you can see, I just ran that wire directly to the fan, and then I have all the wiring for the fuel pump shoved in that hole there with a carpet over it, so you can't even see it. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit more. clean it up a little more, probably make a patch plate for it, and then yeah, I'll be done with that. So that's the wiring. The wiring is done. So now this is a true turnkey truck. You jump in, you turn the key, and it runs. It runs good too. So the last thing we're gonna do is I gotta put a new coolant overflow tank on here, just a small one from Amazon. We're gonna try and put that somewhere around here. So that's the next thing to do. So we'll get right into that now and see how that goes. We got the coolant overflow in aftermarket. Put in a nice aluminum one. Just got this from Amazon. Got this from Amazon. It's like 30 bucks. It's nice and easy. All it is one little bracket. There's two brackets, but depending on where you put it, I had to obviously redneck mine, Jimmy rig it, but it's in. Got the hose all hooked up. So now she's all ready to go. So I think the last thing I'm gonna have to do is the rear gear fluid. I don't know if I'm gonna do that today or save that for another day when I get everything. Probably save it for another day. That's next. Then I gotta do the rear brakes. And then I think after that, I think we're ready to go for a nice drive. Not much left to do, just a couple little things anyways. So I just wanna say thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. We're getting so close to taking this thing for a nice drive. I really want to take it back to the place I got it from. So once we're done the rear brakes, a couple of little things, we're going to take it for a nice drive. Thank you guys so much. If you guys like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, what's keeping you? 92% of you guys aren't subscribed, so if you want, hit that subscribe button. You guys will see new videos. The weather is finally starting to be nicer, so that means that a lot of my other cars will be coming out. You guys don't want to miss that, so make sure you stay tuned. Have a good one, guys. See you later.
Let's do a burnout.